Hello everyone, I'm your host 2B, and this is Nethalas Into the Midnight Throne, a pen and paper we have been playing and understanding all the rules and the ideas about, and our character Miko Edora we started off with is in this one room, and this is turned out to be practically her grave, as the previous monster completely destroyed us. We had to set up camp, which kind of helped us out, but not all that much. And all the other trouble that went around us from trying to kick in a door took a very long time because we were so fatigued or we had a lot of trouble with it. Whatever happened to our character, it hasn't been as fortuitous. So Miko Edora is nothing more than having a few issues trying to survive the current Nethalas. Nevertheless, we proceed onward. As I said about my method of engineering is a little bit different in comparison to the game. So I roll a d6. On a 1 and a 4, it's a room, and a 5 and a 6 is a corridor. It's a room. The amount of openings that the room has is 4, and those openings have there are 3 doors. So I would draw something like this. By the way, if you want to make this sheet as well, it is extremely simple to do in Word. It's nothing more than paint a cell of 7 by 10. Size is about an inch, 20 millimeters, 25 millimeters, and that is pretty much it. So this to make this is not difficult at all. That is the room. It had 4 doors, so there's a door right here where we entered it. That's pretty much the one that we just opened. We have an opening here, There were 3 of them are closest. This one, and this one is a door. And in front of us, I want the area to open up. And that's it. I've taken this system from kind of a D100 dungeon mixture. As I mentioned, I don't like drawing willy-nilly on paper, or trying to fit everything together, and then something doesn't fit, you have to erase it again and try to fit it again. I don't really like that particular type of dungeoneering. I rather than have like a pre-made map to play on, and this feels a little bit more structured, and eventually the structure will fill it in itself. So great. Moving on. Another thing that I do in my system, and this is something that you will notice quite quickly, is that this circle that I drew in the center here, I'll mark it completely dark. What does that mean? It means that this room is completely finished. There's nothing else to do. I have done a room description. I have done an enemy. I did a camp here. I scavenged here, and I have completed all doors. I went in every direction, or I've opened up all doors, so there's nothing to do here. And when there's absolutely nothing to do, I mark the circle dark. In a room, we roll for 1d100 on a room description. You don't have to roll the room descriptions, but I always like to roll them. I roll a 1. So I write down R01, underscore it, because this will immediately resolve it by telling in. Rusty iron shackles hang from the walls, and the floor is littered with the remains of those who suffered unspeakable agony. Kind of sounds like we are in some sort of a prison or other nasty torture chamber. It's not a very bright game. If you're thinking about sunshine and unicorns, you'll not find them. Not here. That. So then we have a tension check, we have a lair check, and we have a encounter check. So we have, for instance, our tension check. our lair is a d12, and for our encounter we have this d20. And if we don't have that one, then this die is going to be our event. I kind of like to toss all of these dice together and figure out what to do. At least you know the order of them all. So the tension doesn't do anything. Our lair is interesting. We've discovered a sign that our overseer is nearby. We have a 15, so we need to roll 10 plus for an encounter. So we get an encounter, so the event is ignored. And we immediately get into a fight. Our roll right here is a 3. Oh my god. Yeah. This is the exact same monster we fought before. This is a cave-bound lich. This is a 3/9 and this is a 3/9. It's the exact same creature. So this place is infested with cave-bound leeches. Then I gather that this is a cave and that they are bound and that they are leeches and that there are many of them and that I should run as fast as I can. And that is what I am most definitely going to do. I hate this game. I mean, love the game. There we are. First and foremost, I don't want to fight this thing because it has alert and it is just annoying. It's not a construct, so you can forget about this growing darkness rule. It is not that bad. Initiative roll, which is my perception against its awareness. It has an awareness of 60. I have 50. I roll 37, so I am succeeding that one. It rolls 81, so it fails, so I get the initiative. As I mentioned, I really don't want to fight this creature because the previous one completely destroyed me with a fairly powerful attack. So one of the things that I want to do is flee. And fleeing is described right about here. Many things aren't looking good and you want to disengage from combat and retreat to the previous room. You must make a successful dodge check. If you fail it, means that your opponent is blocking you and you cannot leave combat. This is a standard action. So as a standard action, I want to roll for dodge to get out of dodge. 53, I fail this as my standard action. That is pretty much it. The opponent then gains the turn. The thing that I do here, and this is something that I understand from the rules, is if I make an attack as an action, then the enemy gets to make a defense move. However, I didn't attack because I used my standard action as a defense move, so he, to my opinion, doesn't get a defense move action. That is just how I interpret it from the rules. Maybe I'm wrong with this, but this is how I understand it. This is my turn, so now it's their turn. Attacking with a 77. By the way, I should take their health is 5. That is a fumble on their side because they got a combat skill 30. So let's see what cruel thing awaits you. 4. A random item from your belt breaks. Make a belt check. Interesting. We've never seen a cave-bound leech before with a fancy belt, but they apparently have them. So they break whatever item they had on too. I get my defense check. I roll a 9, so I do get it. And I roll a 1, so my next attack receives an additional plus 10, which is interesting. My additional attack, so one of the things that could happen here is that I now gain plus 10 on my next attack. I do not know if these stack because it's on receive an additional +10 your next attack. It could very well mean that this keeps stacking. What if he attacks me again and I roll another defensive move which also ends up on a 10 and I keep stacking me up? I do think that is somewhere allowed, but eventually you cannot go higher than 100 points. So and also I wouldn't fish for this because this is really hard to repeat, but I think it is a possibility in the game. Because one thing that I'm going to do in my turn is nothing more than dodge again. 16. So that means that I successfully evade this monster. Goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I think, didn't it tell me to retreat to the previous room? I retreat to the previous room. There we are. I should just say it is resolved. Here we go. Now we didn't defeat it, so we didn't get anything for it. No experience, no nothing. One of the things that I do think is happening is that after a fight, you still gain whatever armor was touched by any of the attacks of this creature is still rolled on. You regain a d4 in toughness, where I have 18, so I can roll it, but it has no effect. And I do not gain a 50 experience because it didn't defeat it. And here, recover all your ether can happen as well. Here we go. I see this as I flee and I go through the door and I pretty much close the door. I gather this character is waiting there for a while until this creature has slithered away. And after that, we go through the door again. Room is pretty calm right now. So let's roll for a scavenge roll here. Got a scavenge of 30. 52. Didn't get anything. One of the things I want to do is check this door. Let's just keep on going and see where it goes. So I'm going to do less explanation right now and play a little bit more. Let's see, the door is a d20 and a d8. The d20 is for a lock and the 8 is for the difficulty if there is a lock. There's no lock. Is there a trap? No, there is not. So this door is open. I am going to go through the door. The room. It's a corridor. It has 3 openings. I like that. And how many of those openings have a door? All 3 of them have a door. I kind of say this as something like this. There we go. And since this is a corridor, the structure of it is slightly different in the way we go through it. The way how I identify my corridors in drawing is the fact that rooms are always drawn with very thin walls and the corridors are drawn with thicker walls. So that's how you can identify it when I'm drawing here. A corridor has a very small corridor description, but we have a corridor 10, so I write C10. Let's see what this corridor says. Corridor 10 description. Strange luminescent fungi cover the walls, casting an ethereal glow. The tunnel twists and turns, creating an unsettling sense of disorientation. I gather this character is in a decent amount of pain, not feeling all that well, and that they had this little haze in their mind from all the pain, and it's numbing them, and they get into this room, and they're kind of, they have this ooze-like mind. They are like, oh, I'm totally done, but they get into this room, they still this hazy light, accompanied with the fact that we can see in the darkness, and they have this hazy effect through their mind, and you're like, this is like a fever dream of madness where I've entered. Nethalas is not a happy place, and I am not in a good mood at all, and I am not doing all that well physically. I am on the verge of death. Not doing all that great character. 80-20 for a encounter. I'm not gonna roll these because I know the red color is haunted me in previous games. 18. Yeah, you see, they're haunted. That means we get an encounter if you have 15 plus. We have a encounter, and what made that encounter be is a. Are you? Oh my god! Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it on camera. How high is the chance that I rolled the exact same creature 3 times in a row? I told you these dice are cursed. Oh, it slithered through the door here. The door was open anyway, so it managed to go through. Oh, yes, it's phonetically possible. It's insane. Yeah. I feel wonderful. Great. Thank you. Thank you, RNG gods. Cave-bound leech. We have already read what this thing does. We have already understood what I want to do. I really want to leave this thing alone. Or I defeat it right here, right now, and I go in weapons blazing. This character is going absolutely crazy, and we're going to defeat this thing right now. So just get rid of it. Screw it. I'm going to destroy this thing, period. I'm going to destroy this thing. I don't want it in my house anymore. I want this thing gone. Initiative. Perception. I'm going to fail this roll. No. Ha. 30. 25. I am closer to my skill, so I gain the initiative here. I gain the initiative and I can stealth you, but I can attack you really, really hard. I know that this is really stupid to do. Actually, I should run away, but I should run away. I should. I doubt. Yes, doubting. I should flee actually, because this thing is going to destroy me. But I said I was going to defeat it, so this character is in a haste, in a frenzy of attack. Here we go. 40. This is our attack. We hit you on your 9, so that is a body part. I have 4 plus 1. This is 5, and that deals you 2 damage. You have 1 armor there, so this is now 4. You get your defense check, which is 18. You succeed, so you roll a d10, and as a 3. Your opponent is bleeding. Thank you very much. Bleeding 1. Oops. I use the anti-skill blocks here to show that. One of the things about bleeding, poisoned, and that sort of stuff is that each turn you play, take the bleeding and the counter on it and push it into the die roll here. And it says that if it's on, we have bleeding 1, so die roll is 1. and it does 0 damage. Poison does the exact same thing. If we have bleeding 2, then we have die roll of 2, and then it deals us 1 damage. That is how those conditions work, and that example is described on page 70, right at the bottom here. Any type of damage, be it physical, attack, a spell, trap, must be rolled in a damage dealt table. And since it's a bleeding type of damage, it will immediately go through this damage die table. There is another description somewhere else that tells it. It's also in the conditions somewhere in the rulebook. Any damage that persists after combat, that's the after combat description. It is somewhere in the book about the damages. I think it is here. Dice modifiers, not measure. Any type of damage, be it physical attack or spell or a trap, must be rolled on a damage dealt table. And bleeding. Oh yeah, it explains it right here in the you must treat the damage received as a damage roll. So if bleeding damage is 3, that means the victim suffers 1 damage. There we go. That was my attack. You had your defense. I took a bleeding for it, and now it's your attack. He has an attack of 40, which he succeeds, sadly enough. Hits on my 8. That is my abdomen. I do think. Yes, chest armor is also my abdomen, so I have a defense of 3. He does 6, so this is the engulfing devour again. This is pretty much spelling my death here. I am entangled. And that is 2d10. Here we go. Oh. A 3 and an 8. So the 3 deals 1 damage, and my armor has 3 on it, so this one doesn't deal any damage, and the 8 is 3, but my armor has 3 damage on it as well. So this, lucky enough for us, doesn't do any damage. If no creature was affected by constricting grasp. Constricting grasp is disability, which it didn't do that, so this d10 doesn't go. That was very fortuitous that it hit my armor with this, but I am entangled. Okay. I get a defense roll for it, which is 48, which I do succeed. Because I'm tangled, I gain a -20. So this is a 45, but I have a defense of +10, so this is 55, so I do succeed it. 3. You receive a bleed. Here you go. You bleed me, I bleed you. That's my turn again. Because it's my turn, the bleeding goes off. It deals me 0 damage. That's it. I'm attacking, by the way. (17). It has a body part of 1 defense over here, and I deal it 1 damage, which isn't doing all that much. This is your defense roll, 35. You do not succeed that. By the way, because it's penetrating, it is dealing me 1 damage in the previous attack. It does. It does. So I have 17. I just spied with my eye. It has a penetrating. You bastard. You failed your defense, so now it is your turn again to attack me. It rolls 74, so you fail. I get a defense roll for that, which is a 66, which I have a defense roll, and I have 75. So this is within my defense roll, and I rolled 66. So this is a critical. Because this is a critical defense, if the enemy made a successful attack, I still successfully defended it, and its attack is discarded. That is what or its attack is ignored because he had a critical defense here. So this is really a strong roll, but it had no effect other than your opponent receives a bleeding 1 condition. This is very fortuitous because right now this guy is going to take a 1 damage each time it takes a turn, which means in 4 turns it is dead. This is superb. This is something that I find very interesting about this defense system. It can be cast to you, but also your enemy. And the bleeding thing kind of feels like it's not embedded in a weapon, but it's more embedded in combat, that people can get bleeds or damages in strange manners. So this is a good one. That was my defense. It is your attack again. I get a strange feeling I'm going to survive this really well. For the exception that he rolls a fat 20 and a d6. Of course. I jinxed it. I just mentioned that. Wait a second, he rolls 70. He failed. Huh? Huh? If you can remember from the previous attack, this attack right here, this is a critical because he hit my head. And he rolled a 6, which is the engulfing devour, which is the 4d10 rolls, so he's going to roll something like that to attack me. Luckily, he missed. Oh, I'm lucky. I could feel that in my chest. Oh. Oh. Miko, you're very, very, very lucky. Defense. A2, perfect. A5. But immediately suffers 1d4 ignoring armor. 1d4 damage ignoring armor. So this is 1d4 2. It deals 1 damage to them. So this becomes 3 ignoring armor. And also it was their turn. So they take another damage right there from the bleeding. Now it's our turn again. They're on the defensive. 33. Nice. Also not nice. 33 is below my skill. 33 is a critical. A critical. Monsters are not affected by it because we have a wonderful... Yes. The Infernal Tormentor says that everything is immune to critical hits, pretty much screwing us over here. So even though we hit a critical, we don't hit a critical. This is our 15. This hits it on its body where it has 1 defense, and this one is added. This damage modifier is added to the die, which is 2, deals 1 damage because it has 1 armor. This attack doesn't do all that much. This is really a boring fight against these things. Unbelievable. He gets a defense roll. He rolls 62. He has 30 to succeed this, so he fails this. It's then their turn again, so you only have 1 health. I really hope you have a critical failure. You do a fumble and kill yourself. Please. 51, so you do fail this. I roll a 1 on my defense. Beautiful. 6. Your next attack deals plus d10 damage. Beautiful. It's then my attack again. It was your turn. I already did the bleed, so that's fine. My bleed, by the way, doesn't trigger in damage yet because that is at bleeding 1. So I was very lucky with this double bleed. Here we go. 75. This is seriously on the edge of my capabilities as 75 is what I um, have as my attack. However, it is minus 20 because I entangled me. So this is actually 55 that I need to roll. So this failed, sadly enough. Its defense roll is 56, so it failed its defense roll, and this was a pretty useless round. It is your turn again, and because you have Bleeding 2, you die. Also releasing us from the entanglement. Hmm. That means that we defeated this guy in combat. So we gain 50 experience. We get a D10 roll on the resource table, which is a 4. I think that's a crafting supply. 4 is a cooking supply. There we go. We recover toughness by 1d4, since this is a toughness of 17, and with a d4 I can roll a minimum of 1. The roll doesn't really matter here, so I just gain toughness. Very happy that I've defeated or encountered the third leech, cave-bound leech. They are dominating this area. Holy cow! And this engulfing devour is insanely powerful, especially when they've done their constricting grasp and added with the engulf devour, they can do an insane amount of damage. And I didn't even in the previous roll. I rolled a d6, but I didn't even attack, but I still had a d10 for their attack. So um, if they failed, I still had a pretty decent attack getting. I failed that one. Yes, it's correct. Never mind. Never mind. I want to explain that I still had a d10, but that one was already resolved because I failed my check. That is pretty much it. It's another half an hour of game. So I really hope you enjoyed this one. And next time we'll continue in this dungeon and see if our character will survive. Thank you very much for watching. I was your host, 2B. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Would absolutely love to see what you think of the game until this far. And I hope you learned something from the game. Thank you very much, and until next time.